Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. It's from Canto 2, Chapter 8, and Text 18. We're fortunate this morning to have Her Grace Vrindavanesvari Radhika Mataji from ISKCON, Philadelphia, to give the class. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept mine, all glories of Prabhupada. Good morning, everyone. Hare Krishna. We'll jump right in. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Giravardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Giravardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Giravardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astacharya Sata His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astacharya Sata His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Ki Jai. Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadara Shiva Sati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Girir Govardhan Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. ISKCON Harrisburg Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. All glories the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Hare Bol. Nāṁ Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashato Deshatarane. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayana Namaskrita Naram Chaiva Narottama Devam Sarasvatim Vyasyam Jatotayam Adiriyat Nastaprayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. So here we are, summer Friday morning. I'm sure a lot of people are traveling today on vacation. But we're going to dive in anyway and do Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto. We have the 8th chapter entitled Questions by King Parikshit. Today we're reading verse 18. So I can repeat the verse 3 times and then we can take turns. nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ saviśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ saviśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ saviśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām. Someone else?
nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ saviśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
nṛṇāṁ sādhāraṇo dharmaḥ saviśeṣaś yādṛśaḥ śreṇīnāṁ rājarṣīṇāṁ ca dharmaḥ kṛcchreṣu jīvatām. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Okay, let's do word for word. nṛṇāṁ, of human society. Sādhāraṇa, general. Dharma, religious affiliation. Saviśeṣaś, specific. Ca, also. Yādṛśaḥ, as they are. śreṇīnāṁ, of the particular 3 classes. Rājarṣīṇāṁ, of the saintly royal order. Ca, also. Dharma, occupational duty. kṛcchreṣu, in the matter of distressed conditions. Jīvatām, of the living beings. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Please also explain what may generally be the common religious affiliations of human society, as well as their specific occupational duties in religion, the classification of the social orders, as well as the administrative royal orders, and the religious principles for one who may be in distress. Purport. The common religion of all classes of human beings, regardless of whosoever and whatsoever one may be, is devotional service. Even the animals may be included in devotional service to the Lord. And the best example is set by Sri Vrindavanesvari or Hanuman, the great devotee of Sri Lord Ram. As we've already discussed, even the Aborigines and cannibals can also be engaged in devotional service to the Lord if they happen to be under the guidance of a genuine devotee of the Lord. In the Skanda Purana, there is a narration that a hunter in the jungle became the most enlightened devotee of the Lord by the guidance of Sri Narada Muni. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord can be equally shared by every living being. Religious affiliation in terms of different countries and cultural circumstances is obviously not the common religion of the human being. Rather, the basic principle is devotional. Even if a particular type of religious principle does not recognize the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the followers still have to obey the disciplinary principles laid down by a particular leader. Such a leader of a religious sect is never the supreme leader, because such a circumstantial leader becomes to that position of leadership after undergoing some penance. The Supreme Personality of Godhead does not, however, require to be under disciplinary action to become a leader, as we see in the activities of Lord Krishna. The occupational duties of the castes and orders of society, following the principles of livelihood, also depend on the principle of devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that a person can achieve the highest perfection of life simply by awarding the results of his occupational duty unto the devotional service of the Lord. People following the principles of devotional service to the Lord can never be put into difficulty, and thus there cannot be any question of abhadharma or religion in distress. As will be explained in this book by the greatest authority, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, there is no religion save and except the devotional service of the Lord, though this may be presented in different forms. Om Jnana Timaranjatya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilatam Yena Tashme Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupakeda Mayam Dadati Vadbadantigam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadara Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasad Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Chariswamaniti Namane Snake Chaita Surpaneta Vagmanam Charasa Pluton Prabhupada Gata Pranam Bhakti Charapanam. So I will read the translation again because it's packed with a lot of points for today, and it's going to, we'll be going into this in further chapter or in further verses. Please also explain what may generally be the common religious affiliations of human society, as well as their specific occupational duties in religion, the classification of the social orders, as well as the administrative royal orders, and the religious principles for one who may be in distress. So in this chapter, Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions, right? Some very sober questions as in his last few days of life. And so we know that he's taken the opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam versus engaging in all kinds of material activities in his last days. So this is the proper situation of someone that understands that they are leaving their body. And this question that he's asking is really not for his benefit because he's not long for this body. He's really asking this for the benefit of those who are to come after him. So he's asking some very pragmatic questions. He's asking about religious affiliation in society. He's asking about occupational duties. He's asking about social orders and religious principles for those who are in distress. So these are very pragmatic daily life kind of questions. They're not asking about the manifestation of spirits. They're not asking about the relationship with Krishna or any of these higher level topics. But this is still a very relevant topic. Why? Because we are all here in these material energies navigating our lives here. So his objective here is likely to help the common person have a better understanding of dharma and have a better understanding of occupational duties. And so this is something that Bhagavad Gita gets into a lot. We know that Bhagavad Gita really dives into these topics of dharma and to religious duty. The Bhagavad Gita obviously also gets into the different types of paths of jnana and dhyana, bhakti, of course, but the Bhagavad Gita is also getting into the topic of occupational duty. This is coming into that discussion of karma yoga, and in chapter 3, karma yoga is given a lot of discussion in Bhagavad Gita, that is. So here, Prabhupada really breaks this down in his purport in a couple of different ways. So he's really discussing the common religion of all classes of human beings is devotional service, and in that understanding that this common this common religion is devotional service. He's saying that no matter what one might be following as a religion, the ultimate goal is devotion to the Lord. So we might be practicing Christianity or Hinduism or whatever path, but unless that religious path is coming to the conclusion that it's a devotional service to the Lord, that we are in a relationship with God, then it's not the true religion. And so here Prabhupada's explaining in the purport that anyone has the opportunity to engage in this religious process of devotional service, that even animals, and he gives the example of Hanuman, even degenerates really, or even hunters can really be engaged in this process. And he references the Skanda Purana, where Sri Narada Muni comes upon a hunter. And I want to just read this from this story because I think it's a very powerful story of transformation. So I'm going to take a few moments to read this story from the Skanda Purana that Prabhupada's referencing here. And like I said, this is to give us a little bit of a glimpse into how one can transform themselves when coming in contact with a great devotee. And Narada Muni is truly carries that highest level of bhakti, and he's traveling around preaching bhakti and converting people to bhakti. So this is what Narada Muni is, his job is. So I'll read the story now. Once there was a hunter in the forest of Prayag who was fortunate enough to meet Narada Muni when this great sage was returning from Vaikuntha after visiting Lord Narayan. Narada came to Prayag to bathe in the confluence of the Ganges and Yamuna. While passing through the forest, Narada saw a bird lying on the ground. The bird was half killed, being pierced by an arrow, and it was chirping pitifully. Further on, Narada saw a deer flopping about in agony. Further, he saw that a boar was also suffering, and in another place he saw a rabbit twitching in pain. All this made him very compassionate, and he began to think, "Who is this foolish man who has committed such sins?" Devotees of the Lord are generally compassionate upon the miseries of living entities, and what to speak of the great sage Narada. He became very much aggrieved by this scene, and after proceeding a few steps, he saw the hunter engaged in hunting with bow and arrows. The hunter's complexion was very dark, and his eyes were red. It appeared to be dangerous just to see him standing there with his bow and arrows, looking like an associate of Yamaraj, death. Seeing him, Narada Muni entered deeper into the forest to approach him. As Narada Muni passed through the forest, all the animals who were caught in the hunter's traps fled away. The hunter became very angry at this, and he was just about to call Narada vile names, but due to the influence of saintly Narada, the hunter could not utter such blasphemies. Rather, with gentle behavior, he asked Narada, "My dear sir, why have you come here while I am hunting? Have you strayed from the general path? Because you have come here, all the animals in my trap have fled." "Yes, I'm sorry," Narada replied. "I've come to find my own path and to inquire from you. I've seen that there are many boars, deers, rabbits on the path. They are lying on the forest floor, half dead and flopping about. Who has committed these sinful acts?" "What have you seen is all right," the hunter replied. "It was done by me." "If you are hunting all these poor animals, why don't you kill them at once?" Narada asked. You have killed them, and they are suffering in their death pangs. This is a great sin. If you want to kill an animal, why don't you kill it completely? Why do you leave it half killed and allow it to die flopping around?" "My dear Lord," the hunter replied, "my name is Mrigari, enemy of animals. I'm simply following the teachings of my father, who taught me to half kill animals and leave them flopping about. When a half-dead animal suffers, I take great pleasure in it." "I beg one thing from you only," Narada implored. "Please accept it." "Oh yes, sir, I shall give you whatever you like," the hunter said. "If you want some animal skins, come to my house. I have many skins of animals, including tigers and deers. I shall give you whatever you like." "I do not want such things," Narada replied. "However, I do want something else. If you kindly grant it to me, I shall tell you. Please, henceforth from tomorrow, whenever you kill an animal, please kill it completely. Don't leave it half dead." "My dear sir, what are you asking of me? What is the difference between half killing an animal and killing it completely?" "If you half kill the animals, they suffer great pain," Narada explained. "And if you give too much pain to other living entities, you commit great sin. There is a great offense committed when you kill an animal completely, but the offense is much greater when you half kill it. Indeed, the pain which you give half-dead animals will have to be accepted by you in a future birth." Although the hunter was very sinful, his heart became softened, and he became afraid of his sins by virtue of his association with a great devotee like Narada. Those who are grossly sinful are not at all afraid of committing sins, but here we can see that because his purification began in the association of a great devotee like Narada, the hunter became afraid of his sinful activities. The hunter therefore replied, "My dear sir, from my very childhood I've been taught to kill animals in this way. Please tell me how I can get rid of all the offenses and sinful activities which I have accumulated. I am surrendering unto your feet. Please save me from all the reactions of my sinful activities which I have committed in the past, and please direct me to the proper path so I may be free." "If you actually want to follow my directions, I can tell you the real path by which you can be freed from sinful reactions. I shall follow whatever you say without hesitation, the hunter agreed. Narada then told him to first break his bow. Only then would he disclose the path of liberation. You are asking me to break my bow, the hunter protests, but if I break it, what will be the means of my livelihood? Don't worry about your livelihood, Narada said. I shall send you sufficient grains in order to live. The hunter then broke his bow and fell down at the feet of Narada. Narada got him to stand up, and he instructed him, just go to your home and distribute whatever money and valuables you have to the devotees and the brahmanas. Then just come out and follow me wearing only one cloth. Construct a small thatched house on the river bank and sow a tulsi plant by the house. Just circumambulate the tulsi tree and every day taste one fallen leaf. Above all, always chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As far as your livelihood is concerned, I shall send you grains, but you will only accept as much grains as you require for yourself and your wife. Narada then relieved the half-dead animals, and getting freed from their dreadful condition, they fled away. Upon seeing Narada execute this miracle, the dark hunter was struck with wonder. After taking Narada to his home, he bowed down again to his feet. Narada returned to his place, and the hunter, after returning home, began to execute the instructions Narada had given him. In the meantime, news spread amongst all the villages that the hunter had become a devotee. Consequently, the residents of the villages came to see the new Vaishnava. In this Vedic custom to bring grains and fruits whenever one goes to see a saintly person, and since all the villagers saw that the hunter had turned into a great devotee, they brought him eatables with them. Thus, every day he was offered grains and fruit, so much that no less than 10 to 20 people could have eaten there. According to Narada's instructions, he did not accept anything more than what he and his wife required for sustenance. After some days had passed, Narada told his friend Parvata Muni, I have a disciple. Let us go to see him and see if he's doing well. When the two great sages, Narada and Parvata, went to the hunter's home, the hunter saw his spiritual master coming from a distance, and he began to approach him with great respect. On his way to greet the sages, the hunter saw that there were ants on the ground before him and that they were hindering his passage. When he reached the sage, he tried to bow down before them, but he saw that there were so many ants he could not bow without crushing them. Thus he slowly cleared away the ants with his cloth. When Narada saw that the hunter was trying to save the lives of the ants in his way, he was reminded of a verse from the Skanda Purana. It is not wonderful that a devotee of the Lord is not inclined to give any sort of pain to anyone. Is it not wonderful that a devotee of the Lord is not inclined to give any sort of pain to anyone, not even an ant? So I wanted to share that story because I think it's just a beautiful story we don't get to hear very often. And I wanted to share it with all of you today. But also it just shows the great power of coming in contact with a devotee, a powerful devotee such as Narada Muni. And that this person had such a tremendous transformation. So this is the evidence in this story, in this pastime, that this devotional service is available literally to anyone, to absolutely anyone. And it is truly the highest. It is the highest form. So from that, Prabhupada continues on in his purport to talk about this religious affiliation. And religious affiliation is something, as I mentioned earlier, Christianity, I relate or I affiliate with, Hinduism, or I affiliate with this or that. However, as Prabhupada points out, religious affiliation is really only just a designation. It's a material designation. And that ultimately, whoever is appointed to be in charge at the local level, at the regional level, whatever that is, at the global level, we saw that, the new Pope was installed, a number of months ago. So, this is all. They are the spiritual leader, but really the ultimate leader is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because even spiritual leaders on this planet, in this material energy, are still bound by material energies. They're still bound by specific rules and regulations. They have to follow certain aspects of whatever that religious order is. But Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, does not have any of that. He's not bound to any of those concepts, and is not to come under any disciplinary action as a leader. Krishna is Krishna. He is the supreme. So he is doing as he wishes, right? And that is what is really important to remember, is that any of these religious affiliations, unless they are truly coming to the understanding that devotional service, relationship with God, God is supreme, unless they are coming to that conclusion, that they are not really of benefit to people. And so then we look at this and take this a step further. Prabhupada then goes into occupational duties. And we know we talk so much about varnashram dharma in the context of a grihasta, a Brahmin, the brahmachari, the grihasta, we have the sannyas, vanaprastha, and then sannyas. Then we have those orders of family life or not family life, but then we also have the aspect of the Sudra, the Vaishya, the Kshatriya, the Brahmin. And all of these in the Varnashram Dharma are there to support one's coming to the spiritual life. But one can use Varnashram Dharma to attain a better position in the material world, certainly. And one can use anything to attain a better position in the world. But the true benefit of Varnashram Dharma is to really be able to come to the understanding of Dharma as religion, as Dharma as our ultimate purpose in life. What is our supreme goal, our supreme objective? And that supreme objective, that constitutional position of each and every one of us, is as part and parcel of the Lord. We are servants. We are servants of the Lord. So if Varnashram Dharma, if we are practicing Varnashram Dharma in a way that does not bring us to that understanding, we are practicing it in the material sense. And this is where it can get very entangled with the caste system, which is extremely material and very damaging. Those of you who have come from in the Indian culture, I'm sure have experienced the effects of the caste system and how damaging it can be. The caste system in today is really just a perverted expression of Varnashram Dharma, which is really meant to cultivate someone's occupational duties, someone's propensities. And this is very often expressed, that we have these occupational duties. That can be very easily confused. Well, what's my occupational duty? One can think, well, my occupational duty is to, in a material sense, go to work, take care of my family, be a good person, do a good job at my work. One might say those are my occupational duties. But the occupational duty, when it is associated with devotion, is really that we carry out the activities on the material platform, but the real purpose in our occupational duties is to serve the Lord. So we might be a kshatriya, we might be a Brahmin, we might be a Shudra or Vaishya, whatever that is. However we are existing in that in that varna, that's maybe due to our propensities. But it has to be done for the benefit of devotion. And this is where karma yoga can really provide that understanding, is that we have this in chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. It goes deeply into the explanation of karma yoga, and we have karmic reactions, of course, that are there with all of our activities, that we have an action and then there's a karmic reaction. So, but in karma yoga, the concept of karma yoga is really that we are doing these activities in the material energies but we're offering them to the Lord. And this is true karma yoga. And this is really what, all of this rolls up to karma yoga. When we think of Varnashram Dharma, if it's done with the understanding that all the things that we're doing in our material lives if they are for the benefit of the Lord, if we are offering the fruits of our labor to the Lord without attachments, that is practicing karma yoga, which means that we're releasing the effects. And so then we can be in this place of devotional service. But if we are doing all of these activities for our own sense gratification, if we're doing all these activities for our own benefit, somehow we're forgetting about Krishna. We're just trying to build our own wealth, not for some other devotional purpose, to give in charity to the temple or give to Brahmins, or for our preaching. But if we're doing it just for our own sense gratification, so that if we're doing it just for our own benefit, that is against the principles of karma yoga. Then we are accumulating so much karma that is going to take us further and further away from the Lord. And so it's really important to understand when we talk about occupational duties, and it's brought up here that and Prabhupada says occupational duties of caste and the orders of society following the principles of livelihood also depend on the principles of devotional service. And he says, Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita, it's stated that a person can achieve the highest perfection of life simply by awarding the results of his occupational duty unto the devotional service of the Lord. This comes from chapter 3. This is the essence, really, of karma yoga, is that if one is performing their activities but awards the results to the Lord, he's giving the fruits of his activities to the Lord, then one has that, one is properly situated. And even in the story that I just read about Narada Muni and the hunter, what did Narada Muni instruct the hunter to do? To only take what is necessary for him, but to devote his life to the Lord. And so when he was doing that, he had given up his material activities, his ghastly activities of all this harm he was bringing to animals, and he became a great devotee. And so he was only taking what was required of him, and the rest, leaving to gifting it back or whatever. It didn't say, but he was only taking what he was needing for him and his wife, and maintaining that process of devotional service. So we take the process of devotional service, and when we do that, Prabhupada says we are not put into difficulty. We might experience difficulties in our life, but we're not experiencing the mental suffering that comes with those difficulties, because we are truly engaged and connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means that, and I've discussed this in other classes, and maybe even here too, that suffering is a mental disturbance. But difficulties can come from any number of things. But if we are suffering, that is something we are doing because we're choosing not to accept the Supreme Lord and accept the will of the Supreme Lord in our lives. So the suffering is our material reaction to the things happening in our lives. However, the same things happening in our lives, if we are completely surrendered to the Lord, even though there is difficulty, even though there might be pain, the suffering is not there, because the suffering is a mental disturbance. The other things are maybe bodily pain, maybe some discomfort from losing money or losing something that's important to us for our livelihood. But the suffering is not there, because if in all of those difficulties, if we are truly devoted to Krishna and we are truly surrendered to Krishna, all of those difficulties will be difficult, but they will also, we know that we're nestled in the hands of the Lord, and that the Lord will comfort us and bring us through to the other side, and that there is ultimately some reason for it. It may be evening out some karmic reactions. It might be that something better is to come. Then maybe a door closes on us, but another door is opening somewhere else that we don't realize was there. And so Krishna might be there helping us in ways we don't even realize, ways we don't even know. So I wanted to kind of just bring this through these different concepts, because Prabhupada talked a lot about a lot about these 3 different topics in these purports. There was one in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17, Narada Muni instructs Vyasadeva, and he with the following. I'll just read you the translation. If someone gives up all material prospects and takes complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of God, there is no loss or degradation in any way. On the other hand, a non-devotee may be fully engaged in his occupational duties yet gain nothing. So this is really the crux of it, is that anybody that is taking complete shelter in the Lord, even if things don't go the way they want, there's no loss or diminution. But if someone is completely engaged in occupational duties but doing it for their own material gain, they're not going to gain anything, really. They might gain some material benefit, but they can't take that with them. And it does not give them the secure position in their next life. Maybe if they're doing some good activities, some charitable work, maybe it'll award them a better life in the next pass. But ultimately, it puts them in a very precarious situation. So we want to be aware of how we can continue to shift our own mindset more into carrying out our occupational duties, but doing it from a place of surrender to the Lord and doing it from a place of devotional service. And that's really what we're, King Parichik's asking these very practical questions, but it really comes around to the idea that it's all for devotional service. So I'm going to stop here. I do have about 10 minutes for discussion. So if anyone has any questions, any comments, any thoughts, corrections, I am all ears.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for a wonderful class. I very much like the 2 things, the Mugari the Hunter Narada Muni pastime, and also Bhagavatam 1.5.17 that you quoted. These 2 are very, very, they're eye-openers. The whole episode with Narada, and then the hunter finally realized that he had really racked up a lot of karma. and Mugari, the definition of it. What was the definition again? Remember?
The definition of
Mugari, the name itself. You said it's called
something.
The
Skanda Purana.
Yeah.
Do you mean in the Skanda Purana? That's where no,
but in the passage itself, when the hunter introduced himself to
Mrigari.
He gave the meaning of his name.
Oh, enemy of animals.
Okay. What a name.
Quite a name.
Yeah. Enemy of animals. My goodness. Well, that sounds like a demon practically. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I knew it was something negative, but I didn't remember exact words. Yeah. And Narada is very, very, very compassionate. Not only was he compassionate on the animals, but he was compassionate on Mugari himself. Finally, give him actually an easy life. Now he was like, practically on spiritual welfare now. He became a Vaishnava and he got everything. He didn't have to sweat it. They have to sweat it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then 1.5.17, it says, one who was forsaken, I pulled it up, so now I'm reading. One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. So sometimes I hear people say, well, this regulated principle and that regulated principle and this. In many words, they're saying they're addicted to that one, so they find it difficult to get off of it. But that's the immature stage that this describes. But there's no chance of that person being unsuccessful if they stay with it. And that is, I think it's very, very encouraging, that statement, yeah. And of course, compared to an non-devotee, which is the other part of it, says non-devotee, whatever engagement they're in, they don't gain anything because they're just going to take another body and stay in the table. So yeah, those 2 were very, very, to me, significant and very helpful in my own mind. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Yes. Thank you. Any other thoughts or feedback?
Yeah, we have another 5 minutes. So
yeah, another 5 minutes. Yeah. So to your point, Parikshit Prabhu, definitely, I think we can. There's the verse in I think it's Bhagavad Gita 6:26 where it's what happens to a fallen yogi. If one takes to the process of yoga or whatever, what happens when they fall down, and it explains that there's it's the kind of the no loss or diminution. They'll come back in a Brahminical family, but if we keep endeavoring, if we keep making that endeavor toward Krishna and performing our occupational duties, but also really just trying to do them for the Lord, we surrender them to the Lord, and even when we have difficulties in the process, that ultimately we will come to eventually we will come to the higher platform of devotion. And it's really up to Krishna's mercy anyway. Krishna is the one that truly decides how any devotee will land at the time of death. He might, Krishna is in control of everything, but we have to do our best. And yeah. So,
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
yes. Any other thoughts from anybody else?
You said Bhagavad Gita 6:26.
I think it was. I think it's 6:26, is it? Yeah. About what happens to a fallen yogi. I think it's 6:26.
It says from wherever the mind, it's kind of similar to this, wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Not directly on this, but still, it's such an important statement there too.
Yes, definitely.
Don't our minds roam so much when we chant?
Yes, yes.
Withdraw it and bring it back to the self. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, maybe I had that verse wrong, but it's
It
somewhere
probably is
in
chapter 9.
6. It's in 6 chapter. Yeah.
Is it 6 or 9?
I feel like it's in 6 with what happens to a fallen yogi, but I could be wrong. But anyway, it's really it's really these are some really important points there in Bhagavad Gita. Now it's bothering me. See.
Let me just see. Does it read if one commits the most abominable action, if he's still engaged in devotional service, he should be considered saintly because he's properly situated?
It is chapter 6. So it is the unsuccessful yogi after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pie. So it is in chapter 6 about the unsuccessful yogi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the unsuccessful yogi takes birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom, and his birth is rare. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the unsuccessful yogi, that falls down. So that's where I was going. I had the verse wrong, but it was chapter 6. So so great.
Any other comments? Yeah. Oh, it's 6:41.
Yep. Yeah, it's 6:48. Yeah, that's it.
I just searched it, so I saw it says the unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Yeah. So there's no loss.
No loss. Exactly. We'll come back in a good family, and it's okay. Yep. So well, thank you all. And if there's no other questions, then we'll wrap it up here today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mataji, for coming on. And everybody have a nice Krishna conscious weekend. So we're on Friday now. Vanchakalpatarubhishcha kripa sindhubhya
pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, have a good weekend. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai, go see the Prabhupada.